And hello, everyone. Welcome. CTS is saying we're on Lauren time right now. I don't know what that's about. I feel like I'm on time. Maybe I'm not. How late am I? I definitely said, okay. I was just on One America News like 5 minutes before this, and I thought I had scheduled it perfectly. So if I haven't, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize for putting the news before you guys. Truly. Next time I'll message them and be like, I have a very important meeting. I'm sorry. Sarlat says, this is my second straight live stream. The times are getting better for me. Good. I am still totally ruining the lives of all of the Europeans. Oh, Georgie's here, but I'm pretty sure let's check the time in Hungary right now. What time is it in Hungary? It's 1 a.m. I am a horrible person. I'm sorry. Anyways, before we get into the topics today, I really wanted to talk about South Africa. We got the farmlands poster out here. I was just on One America Tipping Point talking about it. And I actually need to go check my email because I've actually been invited on a bunch of shows to talk about South Africa, which, I knew this was going to happen eventually, that South Africa would get to this breaking point where it just turned into utter chaos. That much was obvious after going there and speaking to everyone who was like, yep, we are literally preparing for civil war. Everything that has happened, though, whether it be the suppression of free speech, the mass banning people from countries, no-fly lists, mass tech censorship, all of this has happened way quicker than I wanted it to happen, or than I expected it to happen. I kind of thought, okay, yeah, South Africa may tip over in like 10 years or something, and then I'll be talking about it then. Not 3 years after the release of my documentary, or 4 years. That's a bit quicker than I expected. But that really does not bode well for my other predictions, because, I assume we are headed to a massive global war at some point, and I'm like, I really hope that doesn't just spring up on us. And I'm like, oh no, there comes another Lauren prediction that took half as much time as I thought it would. As you guys know, I'm just terrible with time and time zones. So I can be very correct in my prediction of things. But when it comes to the timeline of when it's going to happen, apparently that's just completely broken. All right. My dad is calling me. Should I hang up with my dad for you guys? No, I'm gonna answer, okay? Hey Dad, I'm live with my subscribe star people right now. What's up? Oh yeah, I was wondering if you watched. Oh. Yeah, okay, I'm sure they'll upload it to YouTube though. Okay, I gotta go. Do you want to say, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Do you want to say hi?
I say hi to you.
My subscribe star supporters.
Oh my gosh.
Say something based, Dad.
Say something based, okay, based.
No, like
Lauren, do not put me on.
Okay. Bye, Dad, I love you. Mwah.
I love you.
Based. All right. Where were we going with this? Hi, based, Dad. You know what? Let's just, before I get back into ranting, let's just do the hat draw. This is all your names in here, and this is actually, once again, I think I use this every time. This is the hat I wore while filming Farmlands. Yeah, there it is. There it is. It's a big deal, guys. So we are drawing to see who is going to win a copy of Barbarians and Farmlands. And I was thinking, I've got a few t-shirts from my Australia tour in the garage. I might sneak a few of those in too, as long as you're not in some ridiculous country. Like I remember I had someone from Madagascar order a copy of Borderless, and we actually couldn't ship it through the company that we were shipping DVDs through. I had to personally ship it because they were like, we don't even mail things to Madagascar. So if you're in Madagascar and the extra shipping weight is going to be like $1 billion, you will not get an extra t-shirt. But if it's reasonable, I will throw in an extra little goodie for whoever wins. I don't think we have any Subscribe Star members in Madagascar, though. If we do, let me know. Oh my goodness, I can't look. I was just looking, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm not looking, I'm not cheating. Eric A. Congratulations, Eric. You are our first winner. I don't think Eric's in the chat, but if you watch this later, I'll post to Subscribe Star and let you know. All right, let's see who's next. Let's hope it's someone in the chat. It's always funner when someone can be excited. Okay, got one. Wayne, congratulations. I don't even think Wayne's in the chat. Are you here? All right, well, Wayne and Eric have won. Maybe I'll pull one more. I've got a few extra DVDs. I'll pull one more name, all right? Just so that we get someone who's in the chat right now. Michelle. I don't think Michelle's in the chat either. Oh no. Well, congrats, Michelle, Eric, and Wayne. I'm not going to pull anymore because the shipping costs can be crazy. I don't know where you guys live, but congrats to Eric, Wayne, and Michelle. And I don't think any of you guys, oh, Wayne is in the chat. Congratulations. Where are you? Let me just dox you right now. Where are you based? I'll find out if I can, where are you based? I'll find out if I can sneak a t-shirt in for you. All right, you need to draw another listen, CTS. We'll do this again, but we got a London, Ontario. Okay, you know what? Canada actually isn't that bad. There's a thing with Australia where if you ship from Canada to Australia, it takes 3 months, and apparently someone like swims across the ocean and carries it through the jungles on horseback, and yeah, 3 to 4 months. But if you go the other way around, it's like reasonable mail time. Australia to Canada, 2-3 weeks at most. I don't get it. I don't know if it's something with Canada Post. I don't know if it's something with Australia Post, but there's a weird exchange going on there. That's only positive one way. All right. Oh, South Africa. I'll probably say a few more things on South Africa, and there was something else I wanted to talk about that, of course, I forgot to write down. Ooh, I remember what it was. Let me write it down now so I remember. All right, 10-second memory span here, guys. So I'm sure you guys watched my recent video on South Africa. Really cool. That one's done better than like most of the videos I've been uploading recently. I think it's at like 150K, which, you know, it's good to see people. Oh, sorry. What should be? The rules should be you have to be on live. Oh, to win it. Oh, okay. See, I would do that rule. You have to be on live to win the hat draw. But the problem is, like, I pick ridiculous live times for some people. Like, it's 3 a.m. I'm sure it's like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. ridiculous o'clock witching hour where one of these people lives. So that would be very discriminatory. And I'd have to call HR and do a write-up of myself since I am HR. Isn't it great working for yourself? But yes, back to South Africa. It's been really cool to see. That sounds bad. It's been cool to see the increased interest in South Africa again, as much as it is under terrible circumstances. Of course, there's increasing interest. Whenever there are videos of shopping malls on fire or anything on fire, like churches in Canada or buildings in the States, doesn't matter. People get very interested. We're all pyromaniacs apparently. But if that's what it takes for people to focus on a country where there's been mass crisis and corruption for years, I guess that's what it takes. It takes finally actually getting there. Isn't that how humans work though? We all pretend it's not a problem until it is. It's just like the worst policy ever. Okay, well, it's not happening yet. Well, it's not happening yet. And you have all these people jumping up and down and trying to warn you about it, whether it be on immigration issues, protest issues, all of this racial animosity going on and building up, economic issues, all of the debt being racked up. And you'll notice the people always warning are conservatives. They're like, hey guys, this is going to become a problem in 10 years. And a lot of liberals, Democrats are like, no, kumbaya, it's all right. You guys are being reactionary. You're being hysterical. How dare you try to work the population up and create radicals? Meanwhile, the only things that they jump up and down about, it seems, are like, I guess they do global warming. That's about it. And then for some reason, everything else is fine. They're never worried about the economy, never worried about, building up tensions in South Africa or building up tensions with China. It's all just global warming, and that's it. And it's always like these lofty problems that can't actually be addressed. That's what it is. Like the global warming issue, it's all, okay, we need to cut fuel emissions 100%. That's not a solution. Even there are a lot of conservatives actually that are interested in proposing green energy solutions in the sense of, okay, so this is how we can safely and effectively reduce fossil fuel use. And they're like, no, it's either everything or nothing. So even that, there's very little looking forward and planning. So all of these great crises that I've been talking about in my YouTube videos, like South Africa, which now is coming to a head and it's just chaos there, they're going to come to a head at some point. We're going to have, mass issues with immigration and cultural clash at some point. And all of these Democrats and liberals are just going to be like, oh my gosh, we could have never seen this coming. Where did this come from? And I'll be pulling my hair out, drinking a sangria somewhere as the world burns, listening to opera music or something. Because it feels like I am talking to a friend of mine who is dating like some terrible guy who is obviously a terrible guy. Like he's covered in tattoos that say I hate women or something, and she's having to go drive him to see his parole officer, and I'm like trying to tell her, like, listen to me, this man is terrible, you do not have a future with him, he is probably cheating on you with 10 other chicks. And whenever you do this, whenever you tell a girl not to date a guy, she always is like, why are you being toxic? Why are you telling me not to, why are you trying to get between us? And she always runs closer to him. You have to you almost have to let them learn on their own. You have to let them make their own mistakes. And this is why I advocate. Sorry, I just had a terrible idea. This is why I advocate putting Democrats in the Bronx or random streets in Africa with money taped to them for a night, homeless. And then we'll see if they come back a conservative the next day. Okay, I'm gonna look at some of your comments. Anthony says the looted food may not be replaced quickly or at all. Yeah, that's the problem, is like a lot of people are comparing this to the riots in America, and I'm like, yeah, sure, but also no, because in America, as much as they're terrible and ruining people's lives, they've still got the infrastructure to rebuild. They've still got the infrastructure that there's not going to be mass starvation. In South Africa, they don't have that infrastructure. There's the private security sector in South Africa active right now is about 500,000. Inactive, it's like 1.5. And the army of South Africa is 40,000 people. Like, the private industry is the infrastructure of the country, not the government. You burn down the government and things probably won't change that much in South Africa. You burn down all of these private industries, and that's the whole infrastructure, right? Like, it's gone. And these people are not going to come back. They're not going to reinvest, especially a lot of overseas or people who are dual citizens. They're going to be like, never starting a business here again. See ya. Like, that's what I would do. Absolutely. In fact, I've gotten emails from people that have said that to me, essentially. They're like, we had a business in Durban and we are never rebuilding. Why would we do that? Why would we put all this time and effort into something that we know, like, the country is just deteriorating more and there's no rule of law? There's no point. So yes, I agree. The food will not be replaced as quickly. Yeah, like Anthony said, as for the looted tech items, good luck getting more after the looting. Good luck. They looted all the distribution centers as well. So it could be major shortages for a while. This is what I was kind of thinking about too. I was wondering if there are people that are in the riots that are like, almost like you and I, that would never riot in their lives, but they're like, oh my gosh, South Africa is about to collapse. There's about to be no industry. All of these looters are just going to go and do this free for all until there's nothing. Like, I might as well go get some resources now because they're never going to exist again and someone else is going to steal them anyways. Like, I almost wonder if that's been a spillover effect of this, like normal people just joining the looting because they're like, that's it. This is all of the iPads our country is going to get for the next like 10 years. That's it. This is all of the X item that we're going to get. So I better join the looting now or my family is screwed. Sorry, I've got the sniffles. I'm always terrified when I go into stores and I've got like a little cough or sniffles. I'm like, that's normal. I get them all the time. It's just if I haven't slept or I've been on a plane or something, I just get like that. And I literally am like waiting to be tackled by a police officer here in Australia for sneezing. I feel really bad for people with allergies. What is South Africa's major source of income? Gold? Corruption, I think. I think their major source of income is corruption. Let's see what is South Africa's main source of income? I feel like they export a lot of food. Okay, yeah, mining gold. Good guess. Automobile assembly. I would not have guessed that. Let's look at a few other things. Let's look at what has been completely eviscerated in this country. All right. Okay, yeah. Agriculture is a small part. Oh no, I don't understand these graphs. 1 minute. No, this was set up too smart for me. I need a listicle, people. Okay, none of these are listicles, but you were right. Gold and mining is a big industry there. But oh yeah, so that's really interesting actually, is these mining companies. I remember speaking to a hairdresser who, she was in Zimbabwe actually, but right on the border of Zimbabwe and South Africa. And of course, they've got very similar dynamics. And she actually grew up in a diamond mine area. And she was telling me about growing up there. And she was like, we literally built our own city with massive walls around it. And all of the workers at the mine would come back to the city and like log in. And she's like, we had our own military. It was basically like our own fort. And sometimes we'd have robbers and violent criminals come in and try to attack us. And we'd have like the helicopters deploy and guys on the walls shooting down. And whenever there'd be robberies at the mine, we'd hear just the helicopters go up and searchlights everywhere. And she was like, it was a bizarre way to grow up. But that's like what a lot of these mining areas are. They've literally become their own little like militias because they've had to. It's just been necessary. They literally, I'm sure they'd love to conduct business like a normal Canadian or American mine, where it's just like, all right, clock into work, lovely, go home. No, it has to be like a literal military operation there. And that's where a lot of, after guys leave the military, they go into private contracting. And I've known a lot of guys in private contracting, obviously having hired a lot of security myself over the years for events that I'm doing or documentaries. And these guys would make good money just working at mines as security, working particularly in the oil industry. And they're like, sometimes they'll see more combat doing that than in their deployments. There'll be, these giant heists basically to steal diamonds or oil, and they'll just be shooting back and forth. It's crazy. But yeah. I don't know how this is going to affect that industry, but it'll be interesting. All right. Oh, sorry, I'm gross right now. All right. Wow, lots of comments here. I'm getting overwhelmed. They persecuted you during your Australian speaking tour 3 years ago, but recent events show you were right. I know, and I always think, I'm like, one day I'll be able to say I was right. But it doesn't matter because they don't care, because they'll just erase history and pretend I never said it and then pretend they did. Famous quote by a friend of mine who told me, it is better to be wrong too late than right too early. Because if you are right too early, you just have your platform taken away, you are persecuted, you are called a conspiracy theorist, and in some cases even killed. I've talked about this before. Obviously, like Galileo is a classic example, or the Hungarian doctor who came up with washing your hands because he found out that doctors who were dealing with cadavers, dead bodies, before they were dealing with childbirth, were like increasing the mortality rates of babies being born by spreading disease to them. And people were so angry. They were like, how dare you accuse us of killing our, how dare you accuse us of killing these babies we are helping the birthing process of. I think, what was his name? Semmelweis. Yes, Hungarian physician. Ignaz Semmelweis, I'm probably butchering that. Georgely will come in here and correct me. But yeah, so all these people, he ended up being sent to an insane institution, being beaten to death there after totally being eviscerated by his peers, calling him a conspiracy theorist. Now, of course, it's like you get arrested if you don't wash your hands these days. So we've just gone complete opposite, which scares me because that's what humans do. And I know all this stuff that I'm trying to warn people about. When it does come to fruition, we're going to have all these people just go, instead of what I want to do, which is like, all right, let's balance out the scales. Let's like reduce immigration so we don't have this massive cultural clash, race war in our country. They're going to be like, I'm a kind, friendly liberal. I'm a Nazi now. Like, that's just how these people work. They just go to whatever extremes they think are going to be the most beneficial to them instead of being reasonable and dealing with problems as they come. So this scares me. It does. Like, it genuinely does. But even when I am proven right when I predict things, I have no doubt that they will erase history and pretend that they were the ones that supported it all along, that they were, no, we knew this was going to happen in South Africa. No, we knew this was going to happen with mass immigration, and they'll just literally pivot. As you see, like, this is readily observable with Obama or Hillary Clinton, who are suddenly like, oh, I'm going to be leading the Pride March through New York, even though I voted against gay marriage 10 years ago. They don't care. It's just, we'll just pivot. Now I'm the Pride candidate. Just madness. Thomas says, kicking the can down the road is all that politicians do these days because they're only worried about what happens in the short term and their 3 to 4 year election cycle. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of this lockdown stuff as well. Even though I know financial advisors are talking to politicians, they're like, listen, like, the economic fallout of doing a total lockdown, not to say you can't, have some restrictions, have advice, have like travel restrictions and stuff, but doing this like total constant in and out of lockdown, eventually it's going to have far bigger consequences than what we're dealing with now, like mass starvation across the world, like way more lives lost. Politicians are so afraid of what the media are going to say about them this election cycle. Like, you killed grandma, you were the reason X amount of people died. They're so afraid of that. Like, the tail is wagging the dog. The media are basically controlling what politicians are doing because it's just politicians being afraid of bad press. And, like you said, they won't be in office by the time these consequences come to fruition, so they don't care, which is so sick, which is why I don't think I'd succeed too well as a politician, because I'd probably think about long-term things and people wouldn't like me for it. Anthony says, I've seen whites teaming up with Indians to protect their lives and professions in South Africa. Yeah, Durban is a massively Indian community. I actually went to Durban when I was in South Africa and stayed there for a bit. And I think it's either like 30% or even half of the population in Durban is Indian population in Durban. That is literally just me making it up based off of who I saw in stores. But South Africa is home to the largest population of people of Indian descent in Africa at 1.3 million, mainly in Durban. Yeah, it's like a huge Indian population there. You wouldn't know it though. You know, because it's funny, like that video I posted on Twitter, and I put a clip of it in my YouTube interview I did with Ian Cameron, where it's the guys on the street with all the guns. People are like, it's white people, they're shooting black people. It's like, no, actually half of those guys are Indian. They're Indian gun owners in Durban that their land and property is being destroyed. So do we suddenly not care about the businesses and livelihoods of POC when they're Indian? Okay. The thing is, even if you play that game, like I've tried to be like, listen, BLM are burning down black businesses, but they don't care because there's no consistency in their ideology. None. Zero. Doesn't matter that when these protesters burn down a mall, you have little black toddlers having to be thrown from buildings so they aren't burned to death and their mums jumping out and breaking their legs. Doesn't matter. We'll just ignore that. Because if it's the result of, you know, POC on POC violence, we just pretend it didn't happen. As we know with crime rates in the US, we just don't talk about it. Which, like, if I were a person of color that was completely peaceful, that was trying to just live my damn life, get my degree, run my business, I would be so mad, because the only people that benefit from that kind of rhetoric are violent POC. That's who benefit from this. The normal good people that we should be focusing on and should be propping up, they're the ones that just get effed. I'll watch my language here, but they get screwed. Oh. Steven said, at least they will have new shoes as they starve. Yeah, that's funny for the people who are doing the looting, but for the people who aren't, that are going to starve, that's really, really sad, of course, because they won't even have the new shoes. CTS says, well, that's a complicated circle logic. It's kind of like how you make self-fulfilling fuel shortage by telling people we won't have enough. But if you're the reasonable one and don't get any, well, I'm not sure the context of this, but I'll read your next post, CTS, because I'm not sure what you were commenting on. Unfortunately, you either are a lunatic reactionary asshat who gets fuel out of fear, or someone that gets it anyway because you know everyone else will dry up the supply of fear. These both end the same way, different contributions to the same result. I read that the current... I read that the current South Africa riots are being copied in Zimbabwe. That wouldn't surprise me. This stuff usually has spillover effect. And you know what? Like, I guess it's just literally becoming a worldwide norm. The States, Canada, we're now replacing what used to be, like, if this stuff was happening 10 years ago, we would be shocked. Like, the whole it would shake the world, what's going on in South Africa and what's going on in America and Canada. It seems normal now because political conversation has now just become in the sphere of violence. That's what we're used to now, which is terrifying because that's our new normal, is political violence. And this is what pisses me off too, is everyone looks at January 6th and they're like, this is literally the worst thing since 9/11 or the Holocaust. And I'm like, political violence has been normalized for the last 3 years now. And suddenly when the other side starts partaking in political violence, or perceived political violence anyways, since, as I described in my last video, the only person killed on January 6th was a Trump supporter. But when the other side starts rioting and smashing buildings and stuff, okay, suddenly now it's horrifying. No, you guys normalized this first. And if you think that everyone is not going to start, if you think that you're going to just be the only one who gets to partake in violence and then act shocked when other people do it, you got something else coming. It's like those videos that are so satisfying. I mean, not that I condone this, but when you see a girl like wailing on a dude, just punching him, kicking him, and she's like, you can't hit me back, I'm a girl, and just being horrifically abusive, and then a guy just doesn't care and punches her back, and everyone's like, it's like, you really expected for people to just, you know, for you to be the only one that was going to partake in this violence forever? No, everyone is eventually going to get involved in it, which is terrible. But once you set that precedent, it's real hard to roll that back. Really hard. Especially if you don't apologize or try to fix it after. It'll be one thing if these people condemned January 6th and then said, and you know what? all of this violence that BLM have been committing, all of this violence that we've been condoning, that was really wrong as well. And we need to stop this altogether. That would be the responsible thing to do, of course, but no, that didn't happen. No. All right, I'm going to try to get to the more recent comments. I'm sorry if I missed things. Oh. Sean says, does the government have any hope of regaining control, or will it fall on private security and citizens to do the heavy lifting? Like I mentioned earlier, if the government were burnt to the ground in South Africa, I feel like the country would continue running normally. In fact, they'd probably just be losing less money, since it's just billions of dollars that go missing through corruption there. But if the private infrastructure gets burned down, then the country starts to suffer, because it truly is a country run on private infrastructure. It's not the government doing these things. It's not, no one there relies on the government. No one. South Africa was the poster country for politically correct ideology. Leftists don't want to say that it didn't work out. Yeah, they're the ones, like the international West pushed the ANC on South Africa. They're like, you need to have the ANC in charge. This is going to be the Rainbow Nation. It's going to be beautiful. Kumbaya. No, yeah, we'll just ignore that now. Oops, another failed experiment. We'll just pretend that didn't happen. What's going to happen in Cuba, I wonder? Interesting stuff. Oh my gosh, my nose is so stuffy, guys. I actually have not been paying attention to Cuba that much, because I've been on this South Africa kick, and I'm just finishing. Oh, I'm so stuffy. I'm going to have a sip of tea. I'm just finishing another video, and of course, the eternal documentary project, Empty Love, I've been working on. So I actually need to look into Cuba properly. Of course, I get the gist of it, but I don't want to comment on something when I haven't done a proper deep dive. Steven says, yes, South Africa was demonized in the West for years. Apartheid might have been the lesser of two evils at this rate. That's what I'm like, I've been telling people. I'm like, it's, you know what? Apartheid was bad, but how damning is it on the ANC and the current government that they have literally been worse than apartheid for people? Like, to me, that's not saying apartheid is good. That's saying the ANC have been really, really bad. Yeah, allowing mass people to get murdered and looted and having people's businesses and livelihoods and homes burned down is somehow good compared to separating racial groups of people. Like, they're both bad. At least in one, people aren't being killed, you know. Like I said, both bad. Can't wait for some infiltrator to clip and leak bits of this stream. But if you cannot reasonably conceive in your pea brain, random infiltrator that I've made up, if you can't conceive that these are both bad things, I can't help you. Some of these people have a lot of trouble juggling multiple ideas. Status of Empty Love says CTS, listen up. I am working on it. It's really difficult to do a mini documentary when, like, I'll just be honest with you guys. I just do not get the same funding that I used to. I do not have the funding I had for Crossfire. I do not have the funding I had for Farmlands. And I think it's partially because there isn't like mass excitement around the idea of talking about relationships. It's not, ooh, crazy fire guns. But I think it's important. So I'm just chipping away at it. I will get it done. I always do. Let me ask the people who have been here for a long time, the people who have been Lauren Southern supporters since the OG with my documentaries, do I ever deliver a documentary on time? Ever? The answer to that is no. But let me ask you, do I always deliver the documentary eventually? The answer to that is yes. I always do. I always finish it. I've never had any big scams where I'm like, I'm going to make this documentary and I'm going to publish it. Give me all your money. And then I just don't do it. I always produce the product. It just takes a damn long time because I'm bad at time. It's like I'm reversed when it comes to predicting things that are going to happen in the political sphere, I always predict way too long. And when it comes to my own documentaries, I always predict way too short. Listen, Scott. Scott is set on bringing up this Fortress London documentary that I had filmed half of it when I was around the time of starting Farmlands. And I was going to publish it either before or after Farmlands. But someone, i.e. me, got banned from the UK and could not finish that documentary. So maybe I will deliver Fortress London based on my trajectory of all my other documentaries. Probably will, as soon as I'm unbanned from the UK. If you want to personally get me unbanned from the UK, I will go and finish Fortress London. You always come through eventually. Thank you, Sarlat. Exactly. Everyone is just being mean in the chat. I'm gonna go. I'm leaving. I don't have to sit here for this. I don't need accountability. Yeah, no, I did ask the question, so I can't complain after asking the question. Lots of no's in the chat. Lauren, you never do anything on time. Correct. But in the time that we are waiting, am I not producing videos? Am I not publishing little interviews? I am. I am. Next one's going to be very fun, too. But to be honest, Lauren, you get them pumped out very quickly. Other docos take years to complete. Yeah, you know what? That is a dumb thing I do, is I'm like, I'm going to make this documentary in 6 months. Meanwhile, every other documentary filmmaker is like, I've been working on this project for 3 years. What are you talking about? Like, I think Hoaxed took at least 2 to 3 years. I think, excuse me. That terrible documentary I did with The Atlantic took like 4 or 5 years. I think 5 years, actually. So, and it wasn't even good. So bad. So, yeah, I do make them quicker than normal. But I set expectations for myself that are too high. Thank you, Thomas. That helped heal my soul after that depressing reality of all of my terrible timing. Promises. CTS says, I hate this. I hate this comment. Would you mind doing a collab with a watchmaking company so we can get a nice official Lauren Time wristwatch? I'd buy it. Thanks, guys. No Fortress Madagascar either, considering the mail situation. I don't even know what I'd do a documentary in Madagascar on. I genuinely have always wanted to do a documentary on like witch doctors in random African countries. I think that would be so fun. I don't know why. I just think it would be hysterical. I remember when we were filming Farmlands. Oh my gosh. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. But we were driving to Durban. And when you drive across that coast there are all of these just completely rural villages. And it's so bizarre driving through them because you see people in like all, you know, when you see like a National Geographic and people have all the face paint on, all the little dots. And our guide was telling us, he's like, oh, that face paint is to ward off like this demon, that face paint is for that. And it's like certain spells and magical stuff. And then we passed by this like giant area on a hill of all of these like huts. And interesting point, if it's a witch doctor's hut, apparently they have to be built in a certain way. Like they have to be a circle. They can't have corners because apparently demons hide in corners or something. Now I'm uncomfortable with all the corners in my room, reminding myself of that. So we're passing by this giant, like all these circular huts and buildings on this hill. And our guide points to that and he's like, that's the witch doctor school. That's like where all of the witch doctors come across South Africa and Africa to come and train to be witch doctors. And usually this happens after this ritual where they kind of tell their community they went to sleep with the snake. So you go into a river and you put yourself underwater and a snake comes and talks to you or something, and you have to drown and die and come back to life and come back after a year. So that's apparently what happens. I think dudes just go to another town and party for a year and then come back and say they were a witch doctor that died in the jungle and revived. But anyways, so these guys go to witch doctor school here. And I just remember we were making just all of these jokes, like, I wonder if they're invited to play Quidditch with Hogwarts. I don't remember seeing them in the movies. Like, I wonder what their Quidditch team is like. I wonder if they partake in the Triwizard Cup. And just imagining like all of these dudes showing up for like Hogwarts games. Anyways, it was funny at the time, all right? We were really sleep deprived and food deprived and had been driving for hours, and you know, it was funny. Hogwarts, South Africa campus, exactly. Lauren has managed 2 live streams in a row on time. That's right. We're moving up in the world, guys. Moving up in the world. Oh, the Oval Office disproves of that theory. Oh, I don't even know what you guys are talking about anymore. Thomas said, yeah, that pile of crap from the Atlantic took that long and bombed. You know what was a beautiful thing I saw yesterday that we need to have a quick chat about? Oh, excuse me while I die. All right, I got it. I'm sure, I don't know, I assume you guys follow me on a bunch of stuff. Looking for this. Oh, here we go. Here it is. The Atlantic on pace to lose $10 million this year. They are bombing at life, and it is beautiful to watch. It's really nice to see fake news not selling as well as it used to. The unfortunate part, of course, is that the Atlantic does not exist for the purpose of making money. It exists solely as a propaganda machine, an arm of a few very wealthy people using it to spread their ideology. So that's the unfortunate aspect of this, but it is nice to know that there isn't a demand. It is nice to know that the markets are showing people aren't like the Atlantic. Yes, that's what I want to pay for and subscribe to. And, you know, the guy who made the terrible documentary about me got let go, partially because they're making no money. So, yeah, womp, womp, less fake news, always good to see. I really look forward to, and I do, this is one of my predictions, I genuinely do predict that in the future we are going to have proper academics doing analysis of just how bad our media and news was in this period. And once again, this is part of the reason I make my documentaries, not necessarily because I think they're going to completely change the world. I think they're going to help some people prepare more for what's going on in reality, understand reality, but mostly I want there to be a proper documentation of what actually happened now. So in the future, when they go to properly document what went wrong, why did our nations collapse, they'll have references. And that's also part of the reason, because I'm just a conspiratorial psycho, that I do things on DVD. So these will be floating around. And if the internet goes down, if all that happens, they'll be able to access the movies and be able to compare and contrast it with all the media at the time. And I think there's going to be this massive analysis of what was true versus what. All right, moving on. These massive analysis of what was true versus what was false. And that is going to be really useful for how they structure their nations going forward, how they structure their governments and systems. And hopefully that'll be something that my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren can benefit from, because we sure as hell are not benefiting from any truth right now, since no one wants to listen. In some ways we are. It makes us feel more sane, knowing that the truth is out there and can be recorded, and we can prepare for things in our own personal life. But the world is seemingly headed to hell in a handbasket. Anthony says, I'll do my best to preserve your work. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sean says, are you ever going to upgrade to Blu-ray or is it too expensive? I didn't realize anyone used Blu-ray. I don't know. Maybe I just never grew up with it, but I was not that fancy. Does Blu-ray work on computers? I literally do not own a single Blu-ray. CTS says, what if electricity gets assaulted and electrical grid is very fragile and held together with tape? Checkmate, Lauren. If the grid falls, your DVDs are worthless. Yeah, I feel like you'll have some weirdos in caves with power generators and stuff. There's enough cool conspiracy theory people out there that are prepping for the power grid to go down, that I assume there'll be at least one DVD player that works. Watch them have looted the last Blu-ray player, and then they can't play it. I'm getting progressively more sick as I do this stream. Please don't report me to the police. It's just the sniffles. Uh-oh, you've all got COVID now. This new variant spreads through the computer. Justin, Lauren funded by brutes that live in caves. I will happily be funded by them. Lauren, on the front of your YouTube channel, the new uploads are at the bottom of the page. There are older playlists at the top. Usually on most channels, the new uploads are at the top. I just did an update to like the visuals of my YouTube channel. I do not know what you were talking about there, though. Let me see. Maybe it shows me something different. I'm on YouTube's. Okay, so when I go to the main channel, I see what you mean. So it shows, what you mean is like, it shows like the Borderless playlist and the Farmlands playlist. Okay, all right. Huh. Oh, and then the uploads are down. Sorry, guys. I'm just figuring this out. I am such a boomer. I will fix that after this live stream. That's a good suggestion. CTS says, please don't say that, Lauren. They'll take it seriously, and next time you know, we'll be in a digital lockdown. That might be a good thing, because then how are they going to propagandize to us? Everyone's not allowed on their computers. Oh, no. What are they? They're going to throw newspapers to our doors? That'll get us COVID, too. Can't do that. And then everyone might stop being afraid. Uh-oh. That wouldn't be good. Anthony says, I really like your new YouTube pictures. Thank you. Trying to be classy, guys. Trying to get a little more classy on the channel. And also, I had not updated my my YouTube image in like 3 years. So there's that. I've never been, and I probably need to do this more, but I've never been like one of those hustle YouTubers that's like, okay, we got to find out how to beat the algorithm. We got to, I'll use 7,000 hashtags. I'll, perfectly design my channel and curate it all. I'm just like, okay, I want to talk about this topic. I'll talk about it. But I probably do need a little more of that hustle in my blood. I don't think it's entirely negative if it's for a positive cause. But I've always just kind of been like, I'll put my work out there. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. There we go. Have to run to work, says Andre. Really enjoyed this chat. Have fun at work. Have a good time. Be happy you still have a job and your business wasn't burnt down by insane looters. Oh, I'm hungry. Don't know if you can hear my stomach grumbling. Welcome to Lauren ASMR, sniffling and tummy grumbling. Really good stuff. All right. Oh, yes. The last thing I was going to mention, since we're coming to the end of the stream here, and I know I need to do a second stream for my my other Subscribe Star tiers. I might have to set that second stream up for next week, guys, just because I am really exhausted. I didn't get much sleep last night, and I'm super hungry, but we will do that. I'll set it up for next week, maybe around the same time or a bit later if we have some specific requests from people in those tiers. But yeah, the last thing I was going to mention is in about a week or two, I'm actually not sure exactly when, I'm setting up a debate, and I'd like the chat to take some guesses who I'm debating with. Certified concave brain. That's the hint you get. You can tell I'm going in Never mind. That's the hint you get. They've got a very smooth brain. Any guesses from the chat? Vosh. Not Vosh. Not yet, anyways. I'm going to give it one more minute here. That idiot that hijacked Crowder. No, you know what? Maybe I made it too broad. Maybe telling you they had a certified smooth brain was way too broad. Too many options there in modern politics. No, I'm debating that dude from the Surfs TV, Lancelot, or whatever his name is. So this is going to be a complete waste of time. Yeah, I think we're going to debate the churches in Canada, the church burnings in Canada, which I don't really know how you defend arson, but apparently that's the thing. Apparently someone's going to try to defend arson, so I wish them luck. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Interviews coming up. Yes, towards the end of the month, I'm going to be on the Opie and Anthony show, which is like Anthony Cumia's network. What's this? Wow, my brain. I'm starting to fall asleep. This is why we're going to have to end the stream soon. And Anthony says debates on non-trans topics is even better. I know, all the leftists that I do shows with on YouTube, all they want to debate is trans stuff. And I do not understand. I'm like, is this the only topic you guys talk about? And it's such a small percentage of the population. Like, there's definitely a debate to be had there, but every time this is what you want to talk about. It's getting a little tiresome. But yeah, Opie and Anthony, I was just on the Daily Wire. Can't remember, I don't know, for some reason, for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the guy's show I was on. I was just on One American News this morning. They'll probably put that up on YouTube. And I've got a few interviews that I need to reply to in my emails after this chat. So I'll probably do that, and I'll update you guys, let you know. But yeah, after this, I'm probably going to take a quick nap since I got 4 hours of sleep, and then do some editing that I needed to get done. I will answer maybe 2 more questions here, and then I've got to run. Those of you in the Directors Club and Producers Club, I will set that stream up for next week. We'll have a chilled time. But let's check out these last comments here. Do your research on the mortality of children back then. There are bodies everywhere in those days. Yeah, that's the thing. I also know, like, debating the history of this stuff will be really fun and interesting. And there's a lot of stuff that is completely ignored by the mainstream media that will be good to bring up. This is the history of residential schools in Canada. Anthony says executive disorder when I'm taking a hiatus from it at the moment, just because life is a bit too chaotic with everything going on and everything I'm trying to finish to do the executive disorder, and I'm always late, but we will get back to it probably after the publication of Empty Love. CTS says, leftist ideology in a nutshell, taking small issues and throwing them in everyone's face, lighting it on fire and burning the world to the ground with it. That was a very poetic way of putting it, CTS. All right, guys, I've got to run. I'm about to pass out on stream, and that will probably just be playing for 4 hours with me snoring on my keyboard. Wow, I am so tired. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for joining this stream, and it was lovely to talk to you all. I will see you next time. That was such a weird wave. Bye, guys.